So one big thing I'm working on at the moment is consistently posting content on the social media page, which I'll show in a second. And pretty much after doing the pre-sales for the supplement and making my first 1K in 24 hours just from organic posting and DMing, I realized that it's really important for me to be able to build the foundation of the channels which are going to actually bring in the most leverage. And one of the things that are pretty high leverage, if you stay consistent with it, is organic content. And so it's a hurdle that I've been trying to overcome because from past business models, from PTing to SMMA, actually trying to get a good rhythm, not only with consistency, but quality of organic content has been tricky. And so I've pretty much bursted through the gates with consistency, trying to make sure that I'm posting daily and most days trying to post twice a day. So there's actually quite a bit of a build up of content there that I've done over the last month, which is really good. And the real key is using the quantity metric, the large amount of volume that you post, to actually try and find the quality. And so what I mean by that is you can't try and consistently wait for the perfect shot. And just to explain that a bit more, there's a parable or more of a short story that I heard pretty much from an Alex Hormozi podcast, I believe, and it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but it's the idea of someone who constantly has preserved their teeth to make sure that they don't actually get damaged or harmed. And so if they constantly wait before they bite and wait before they bite and never actually take the bite into that opportunity, they found that over time their teeth fell out and they became that toothless person that never actually got to take that bite. And it's a bit of a really rough explanation, but the premise of that story is that it's not necessarily waiting for the perfect shot, but the perfect shot is actually you just taking one, because you're never actually going to be able to build unless you have something to work off of. And so it's something that I've really wrestled with for a while, the concept of making sure that rather than trying to make my first shot perfect, it's more about just acting and then fine tuning afterwards. And particularly with organic content, that principle is ever so important, especially when you're organically posting. So it's the idea that you want to consistently post with what you believe your target audience wants to see or what they're already watching, and then also tied in with what can capture attention, apologies, and then also what aligns with the brand that you're trying to push if you're an ecom brand, for example. But the tricky thing is this is all well and good to say these things and tick these things off, but you're never actually going to know what combination of these elements are fitting for your target audience or are going to be effective until you try. And so that's the idea of not like waiting to take the shot, but just take the shot so you can constantly refine your aim and execution through reps. And you're always going to have moments where things blow up, you try and figure out how they blew up, and then it fumbles again, and so you're back to square one. But it's constantly all about testing and then measuring and then retesting based off the data that you've got. And this video might be a little bit non-directional with what I'm trying to get at here, but it's more the idea that you want to be consistent with your content posting to make sure that you can analyze enough data so that you can find the formulas that produce the quality results. And you're never going to be able to analyze data if you only post once every 5 days, or you're inconsistent and you never have enough reels to actually study that you've done. And so it's important that not only you build up that data to look at, but you're constantly trying to change certain things with every post. Because if you make the same reel all the time, you're not going to be able to see how they might perform better or what kind of things that you might change could bring you one step closer to that viral content stage. And so although the outside image of the brand looks very similar, it's the idea of making a tidy, well presented and professional image. If you have a look at content, there are small tweaks across everything that make it slightly different to observe through each reel. And so it's not necessarily the idea that things have to vastly change for you to get those results, but it's small little tweaks that you can make that still align with the general premise of what your target audience is interested in or what they're already watching, and then continue to cycle through the options, because it's not that you run out of tries. The reality is you're playing a game where it's not that you have a set amount of chips that you can gamble. You have unlimited resources here. You have as many tries, you have all the time, you have all the resources, there's plenty of clips, there's plenty of ideas to get inspiration from. The idea is that you're playing a game of poker and you have unlimited chips. You can just keep playing until you win. And the best thing about it is, like a game of poker, if you sit there around the table having no idea what to do, the more you play, and if you have unlimited chips, you're not worried about burning through your money. You have unlimited resources. Same thing with content. You have unlimited time, unlimited ideas, unlimited possibilities with how you could structure your content, how you can do your hooks, how you can keep people retained, and what's going to work for your target customer. There's plenty of ways to the top of the mountain. And so, like the idea of poker, if you have unlimited chips and you can keep playing without getting burned, the more you play, the more you'll learn and the better you'll become. And so it's the exact same idea with organic content. If you continue to make slight changes, testing the waters, if you continue to put the reps in, you will be able to get consistent and good results from the reps that you do. And that's the biggest takeaway that I've had from posting content. And the idea is that I want to set myself up so that the brand has a good audience from the get-go, so that organic content can be leveraged through sales with absolute zero customer acquisition cost. And that's the best idea, to go that way from the start, because rather than making my sole pillar ads something I have to pay to get customers, if I can have organic content bringing me consistent customers per week or per month, it's something that I'm able to add straight to the bottom line without worrying about being dependent on one being dependent on one marketing channel. And so this is how we're actually able to put our business in the trajectory of something that's, one, sellable, and two, is constantly going to compound over time. Because if anything, there's two ways to make a business constantly grow all on its own. You have more people to sell from you, or more ways for people to buy. And so if you have many ways for people to buy that allow you to keep more at the bottom line, like organic content that takes zero cost to get that customer if they buy, it's just a win for your business. And so, although it takes a long time and there's a massive learning curve, and I still have, quite frankly, not much of an idea of what to do, and I'm just almost throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, I know that if I keep rolling the dice, I will hit a 6, if that makes sense. And really, I'm not going to go too much into what exactly I do to make this content, because I feel like that would be more valuable once there's more consistent viral videos and there's some proof behind what I'm saying. So this is more talking about the mindset towards the next problem I'm tackling, and that's organic content. So if there's one thing you can really take away from this video, is stop looking at things from such a short-term lens, and understand that most of the time, the reason that you bear such big fruit from the tasks that you do is because of the consistency that you put behind them. And so, especially with organic content, in order to test and see what works, you need to be consistent and do ridiculously long and strenuous amounts of work and reps into posting content to see what works and get the results that you want. So I'm going to leave it there. I've got one more video to post for today on the business page. So at the moment, because it's a day off, I've decided to do 2 videos today, just because I'm playing around with a new set of features. Like I was saying, you test, you measure, and then you retest other things to see what works. So I'm doing the same thing. Hopefully, I'll be able to post a video on the virality of this content sooner rather than later. But until then, I'm going to post this and you'll be watching it as I'm speaking now. So take care, everyone. Thanks for following the journey.